So some really good news, guys, and it just came out like last week, so I want to talk about this because this is going to affect 5 countries. So it's mostly Europeans, but then there's also Malaysia that is going to be affected by this. And what I'm talking about is visa-free travel to China, which is really wild because this has always been an issue for everybody coming to China. As the visa process has been quite difficult. You have a lot of paperwork, and it has deterred many people from coming, specifically from my side of the family. I'm from the United States, which this doesn't actually affect. They'll still not want to come because of the visa process. But from Yvonne's side of the family, from the Netherlands, which is one of the countries that is going to have visa-free travel, they will be able to come, and they'll have no excuses anymore other than the long flight. But this is really great for a lot of people because it's going to affect 5 nations, which is Malaysia, France, the Netherlands, Germany, and Italy. And so those passport holders can arrive, just buy a flight and arrive. And when they get here, they'll get a stamp and be let into China and be able to explore all the wonders that China has. And there's actually a lot of really cool places. This used to be a travel channel, and when we were traveling a lot, we went to many of those cool places. And so now the people from these 5 nations can come and essentially just travel, which is so wild because for the last 3 years, it's been really difficult to travel into China. And now, at least for these people from these countries, they'll be allowed to. But one of the things that you have to remember that when you do come to China, so here's a couple of tips. When you do come to China, one of the biggest things you have to remember is the internet is extremely restricted. And I won't go into great detail on why because many of you have your own opinions about that. But I will say that if you're trying to access anything Google related, so that could be your email like Gmail, that could be YouTube, that could be just search, Google search. Also, Facebook or anything Meta like Instagram or Facebook is going to be blocked here. You won't be able to access it without a VPN. I've been in China now, over 13 years basically, and I've always had to use a VPN for the last 13 years. I use 2 different ones, and I will link them down below. One is called Astral VPN, and the other one is called Express VPN. And these 2 VPNs I've switched back and forth from time to time based on deals and just based on how I'm feeling with those companies. But they are kind of the best ones that most expats use here. There are other ones that you can look into, but I've linked down below these 2. If you come to China and you buy one of the VPNs through my link, I'll get a small commission, which is really helpful for this channel. Besides buying a VPN for your trip to China, because that's really the number one tip in my opinion, because it'll make your trip smoother when you're here, Yvonne has a few other tips from a video she did a while back, so I'm going to add those tips in now for anybody that thinks about traveling with this new visa option, and I'll kick it over to her now with some of her tips. If you want to watch her full video, I will also link it where you can go to her channel and find all the clips, all the tips, and all the tricks and everything that you need to have a good trip here in China.
When you're coming to China, bring a list of keywords and phrases that you think you're going to be using a lot when traveling in China. It is true that more and more people are able to speak English, but you won't be able to rely on English when you're traveling in China. So my tip is to learn a couple of words you think you'll use a lot. Learn how to say them and save the characters and meanings of those words in your phone. Words and phrases I suggest you to learn are thank you, how much does it cost, I don't eat meat, or I don't eat peanuts. If you have allergies, that's very useful. And save those in your phone so you can always show them when you are at a restaurant or somewhere where you need to use those words. Eat all the food. The food in China is amazing and extremely diverse. You won't have to eat the same meal twice if you're traveling here for a week or 2, as each region has its own cuisine. If you're up for it, you can even do a cooking course and learn how to make some of those delicious meals yourself. Be ready for an adventure and a culture shock. All those tips I mentioned before are very useful, and you should really follow up on them. But being ready for an adventure and being open-minded will really help you to have a great time here. Yes, it's going to be very different compared to what you're used to back home, but if you are ready for just a lot of new impressions and new things, new food, and be open and patient, then you're going to have a great time.
So as you can see, Yvonne has a couple of good tips for when you're traveling here in China. So let me know if you want to come to China. Let me know if this would make a difference. If you had visa-free travel for your country, would you be more willing to come to China, or is that not a deterrent for you and you're going to come regardless of what China says you're going to come? Obviously, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. And yeah, really excited news. As you can tell, I'm just blabbering at this point. So if you want to know more about China, I have plenty of videos about traveling from when this was a travel channel, and you can check out one of these cool places that I've been to. And I hope to see you in the next video.